Hi, good evening. My name's Jo and welcome to my channel, which is Love Answers. And the whole purpose of my channel is to put some love out into the world. We've all had a really tough 18 months and I came up with this idea of just sharing my experiences that I've had with heartbreak and loss and the answers that I've come to on my journey, which has been a very spiritual journey. Through meditation and what I actually teach as my day job, which is working with the mind and the emotions. So I've kind of taken all of that and channeled it into love. So what I will be doing over the next few weeks will be meditating on my cards. And I have heartbreak asks, which are questions when we have heartbreak or loss. Love answers, which are based on fire, earth, air and water and nature and the elements. And I will be giving answers that have come from meditations. And then we will be doing another little section, which is love is. So these are basically what is love and my interpretation of it. What I would say is take what resonates and drop the rest. So if you find yourself on this channel, it means you've probably been called here for some reason. You've been drawn to it. So you're obviously looking for something in relation to love, but just take what resonates and then leave the rest behind. And if nothing resonates, then, just appreciate the love that hopefully you'll feel by looking at the channel. Okay, so let's begin. We're going to start with heartbreak asks. So I'm just going to shuffle the cards and then we're just going to take 3 of these cards that come out with questions on. Oops, a lot more wants to come out there. And I will go through answers based on the questions. So let's just put them down and see what they have to say. Okay, now these are questions that over my time working with people, I have found, are some of the most common questions and the ones that we find the most difficult to overcome. So the first one, why do I play those same words and that same scene over in my head? This is a very, very common one, because basically it's normally that last scene with those last words that were said to you. And the reason we play this over in our head is because the mind holds on to those words if it's something we desire or something we don't want to let go of. So why do I play those same words and that same scene over in my head? It's your mind trying to get clarity, trying to understand the situation. And what the mind does when we need to understand something, it brings it to the surface until we actually do have an understanding of it. And normally with this question, there comes a lot of thoughts, a lot of emotion, almost to the point where you actually feel like you're reliving it again. And that's because the emotions are so raw, that they're so on the surface and they probably haven't been dealt with. So that's one of the first things. So that's normally your mind processing, trying to understand what's just happened. And also your mind tries to search for the answer, because when something happens through heartbreak or loss, it's always about trying to find an answer because we want the answer. We want to understand, so the fear goes away. So, what I would say with that is, it's going to happen. It's the natural flow of the way the mind and the emotions work. So allow it to happen. Play that over in your head. It will feel difficult. It will feel quite challenging. But the more you practice tools to overcome the situation, the more you'll understand, the more you'll see, the less it will play. And what I'm going to be doing on this channel is I'm going to be running a short course, which will have elements that you can implement to help you overcome heartbreak or loss. These are tools that I've used myself and I've given to other people to use. And the only way we really overcome loss is by absolutely understanding, or having a level of understanding of what's just happened. And for me, like I say, this is all based on personal experience. So for me, I went internally and went on a very, very deep journey through meditation, on that spiritual journey of absolutely understanding what love is, what it is at its core. And what I learned on that journey is when you go deep within inside, you actually connect to that pure unconditional love, which is the love that brings life and will bring you back to life. It is the answer to everything. And, like, for example, when I do the love answers section, I meditated on all these cards when I actually brought them together. And that's based from very, very deep meditation and the messages that were channeled at the time. Because on that deep level, our higher power is love. It's absolute, pure, unconditional love. So, yeah, so just give yourself time, know that this question will come up, it will play over. The more you work to understand it and understand the situation, the quicker it dissipates. But it's okay. This is okay. It will not be forever. It's just a blip. It's just a moment. It's just the point you're at right now. And what I find really interesting about loss and heartbreak, when you're going through it, it's literally like a glass splinter to the heart. It's so challenging on every level. It pushes you mentally, it pushes you physically, it pushes you emotionally. But if you work to understand it, you will come out of it. Through the breakdown, you will have a huge breakthrough. And I always look back and I'm very grateful for those moments. I'm grateful for the people that have come into my life that have hurt me, or, I've lost, because it teaches you about yourself. It's, look at it as a lesson about yourself. Make this about you, about giving yourself the love that you would have given someone else. Direct it to yourself. Make it your journey to absolutely understand who you are. Because when you understand who you are, the love you give love you project comes directly back to you. Okay, so let's go to the next one. How do I learn to smile again? You will smile. You will 100% smile. And it's okay not to smile for a little while. I quite like that, not to smile for a little while. It's okay to do that. It's part of life. And just, again, look at it as a lesson on being grateful for the smile that you had and being grateful for the smile when it returns, because it will return. There's 100% no doubt it will come back. But this is a time in your life where you're being given one of the greatest gifts. You're feeling immense emotion. That's a gift, to be able to feel. Right now, you don't want to feel anything. But to feel, imagine if you didn't feel, if you felt nothing, it wouldn't be living. This is absolutely living. If you're feeling and you've lost something and you care about it, then it's a great gift. And, I remember when I was going through terrible heartbreak, I remember thinking, I don't want to smile again. I don't want to leave these feelings, because there's some kind of comfort in the pain. And that's true. And there's very different stages that you go through. But when you asking yourself that question, how do I learn to smile again? Just trust you will. You 100% will. And it's okay for you to have that question. I don't want to feel alone anymore. And this is something that comes up because it's very lonely when you're in pain and you're suffering, and you feel no one can understand what you're going through. And I think people who've been through similar things do understand, and they know that you do overcome. So, they may not live it over and over and over again like you are right now. But what they will do, they will know, know that they know what it feels like. And again, you won't feel alone forever. It's temporary. It feels like forever because you're living in the hurt and the loss, but it absolutely will not be forever. It's short-lived. And the quicker you bring your focus to yourself, the quicker the healing. And that healing journey is a magical journey. It's a beautiful journey. It's the journey of absolutely understanding you, and that's the best love you can have, understanding who you are, how you function. And the more you explore that, the closer you'll get to your absolute soul connection. And then you start working from that level. You will see all of this that's happening right now, and the heartache and the loss that you're going through. You will see the purpose, you'll see the reason, and you will see why that loss happened. And when you see it and you understand it, the fear goes away. So let's have a look at love answers. Okay, so first one, cool. And these cards I've actually meditated on because I wanted to bring you something that was it's interesting. This seagull is a seagull. I didn't particularly warm to seagulls before, but when I lost my cat, so I had a cat and she was 22 years old, and I lost her not that long ago, and the day before she passed on, this seagull turned up on my balcony. I live by the water, and it turned on my balcony and it sat on my balcony and kind of tucked its head under its wings and went to sleep. And I thought, oh, that's strange because it's never happened before, anything like that. Anyway, since my cat passed the following day, and the seagull has come every single day, and it now actually knocks on my patio door for food, and it's quite incredible. I feed it, and then it goes back, it sits on the balcony and tucks its head under its wings and goes to sleep. And it comes every day. It's not aggressive. It's not, seagulls can be quite intense. It's very calm. It's very chilled, and it's very respectful. So I'm very grateful for this seagull, because he made that journey of losing a pet after having her for 22 years much easier. He softened the blow. And I think what you find, and this is what I think is so magical about life, is in heartache, people and things appear unexpectedly. As one door closes, another door opens. And I think so much is about being open and embracing what comes, and the signs that come. There will be signs from the spirit world. There'll be signs saying to you, we know you're suffering, we know your pain, and pay attention to those signs because they're there for a reason. So I'm very grateful for the seagull. So I wanted to make sure that he was on this journey. Okay, so the mountains, earth. Earth is very important when you're going through heartache or loss, because going into nature and connecting is one of the most powerful things you can do. It's one of the most healing things you can do. And what I would recommend is, no matter what you're feeling, wherever there's the nearest mountain or the nearest green area, is to get in your car or walk and go there. Walk. Walking is a healer. It calms the mind, it calms the body, it relaxes everything. And when we go into nature, and especially mountains, when we go there and you sit, I'd recommend going and sitting just in the silence. you know, because when you're sitting indoors and you're in your pajamas and you don't want to get out of bed or do anything, it's no different to being here. You know, go here. You're going to feel those emotions and feel the pain, but there's energy. Everything is energy, and the energy you will receive from this mountain or mountainous area will be so immense. It will accelerate healing, and things will come to you. Insights will come to you. Clarity will come to you. You'll see things differently. You know, it's our environment is everything. We become our environment. And if you're hurting and you're at home and you're huddled up in bed, feeling sad and alone and lost, sitting here, there's comfort in this mountain. There's comfort in the ground supporting you, beneath you. So I would earth, ground yourself, go to earth, connect, feel, reflect, think, and things will come to you. Insights will come to you. And when you go home, you'll feel very different. Water. Water is one of my favorite things. You know, I say to people whenever things happen, you know, be like water. I think Bruce Lee was one of the guys that said that as well. You know, be like water. Water adapts, it flows, it helps things to grow. And I think, you know, being near water, walking near water, watching the water, you know, just sit for a moment and look at the way that water works. You know, if you've ever had time to just sit and watch the water, you know, I guarantee if you sit by the water and watch, something will make you smile, or you'll cry and cry and cry. It's very good for releasing, and you'll cry to the point where you'll release a lot of emotion and you'll feel like a huge weight's been lifted, a huge burden. And that's part of a healing process. So use nature to heal. It's there. It's a gift. But take a moment to look at it differently. Take a moment to look at it for a purpose. So the water's to shed the tears, to cry, to let go, and be open to the unexpected. You know, sometimes you'll see a bird land, or you'll see a child run into the water and splash, or try to skim the stones on the water, and the excitement of a child doing that will make you smile. You know, these things are very healing. They're very small, but they're very significant. Okay, so to the final card. This is air. So the sky above us, you know, we breathe in the air. Breathing is so important. You know, if I could recommend one thing to someone when they're going through heartache or trauma, is to breathe. You know, this will be part of the course that I'm doing. It will be teaching how to do proper breathing, to accelerate healing and to calm your mind and connect. So air is very, very important. And again, the sky above us, it controls everything. And it's one of the most important things, like breath is life. So here, the sky, obviously the darkness, this is the darkness and the red of the sky. Think about the sky, how it changes. You know, it can be this bright red 1 second, and then it can be bright blue the next. It can be white, it can be cloudy, it can be, you know, orange. There's so many colours that are in the sky. So take a moment of looking at how the sky changes. It's forever changing, and change is the only constant. And part of going through this healing process and heartbreak and loss, there's change. And change is one of the most important things that we can do. You know, if we embrace the change, life is easy. And that's where you want to get to. You want to get to that point where change becomes effortless. And in that, life becomes simple. And then, you know, one of the things that I feel is so important is understanding love to the point that it's simple. And love is simple. It's just us as human beings, we complicate it. So keep it simple. And recognize the colors, recognize the ability the sky has to change. And wherever there is darkness, there is always more above it. you know, the darkness that you can feel when you lose someone is deep down, but there's a whole lot of area above it. And the higher you go above it, the lighter you become. And that takes time, but it is possible. So yeah, so just to recap, ground with the earth, take time to reflect, watch the water, allow everything to flow, allow everything to let go, breathe in air, bring in life, breathe in new energy. Look at the way the sky changes, look at the way it goes with the flow. You know, all of these are interconnected, but they all bring life, they all bring energy, they all bring power, and they all bring strength. So use nature, you know, connect with it and use it to help with your healing. And it, you know, I'm not saying this in the way of, you know, that's the answer, but it's little tools and techniques to help you in those difficult moments. And like I say, when I do the course, I'll give you lots of tips on exercises you can do at specific times on that healing journey. So yeah, so be okay with playing those over. It will pass. You will smile again, 100%. And maybe when you go watch the water and at the beach, and you don't want to feel alone, but you won't be alone forever. It's just temporary. And use that moment. Being alone is great sometimes. You know, in my own personal experience, I was always with people. I was always surrounded by people. And I had something happen that brought me to my knees physically. And what was really interesting about it, I spent like 18 months alone in kind of deep meditation. But before I went on to that journey, what was really interesting was I couldn't spend 5 minutes alone. Then I spent 18 months alone in deep meditation, and it was the best 18 months of my life. So if I can do it and I can heal, anyone can, because I was one of those people that had to be with people. I had to be surrounded by people. I had to be going out. And it changed my life. So it was the worst thing that happened to me, but it was the absolute best thing that happened to me. So be open, explore, cry the tears, but always think I'm going to build the bridge and then I'm going to stride over it. So hopefully that will have helped a little bit. And like I say, take what resonates, leave the rest behind. Again, this is my own personal journey that I'm sharing. So take what you feel works for you, and hopefully something will. And even if none of this works for you, hopefully the peaceful candle and the cup of tea. Okay, if nothing else works for you, make yourself a cup of tea in a nice little teapot, and have a cup of tea, because whatever situation we're in, whenever something happens, sitting down and having a cup of tea is so comforting. And what I will be doing over the course of the channel, I love tea. It's one of my favorite things. So I will be making tea and tasting different teas, because there are so many and so many delicious teas. So I will be sharing that with you on your journey. Okay, well, I'm very grateful for you stopping by. Thank you again. I really appreciate it. If anything resonates, please like and subscribe, and wishing you lots of love and lots of blessings, and enjoy your journey into nature. Thanks very much, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.